Okay, the crypto market has been moving up again overnight, with almost every single one of the altcoins we've been buying just going absolutely insane. And that's the nice thing about bull markets, that's the nice thing about a part of the altcoin season. Just every single thing you buy, it just works, right? So just last night, I told you I was buying about a $50,000 hype position, which did really well just now overnight. We bought some Dogecoin, which has been doing well. T-Rex has been doing well, and ETH. We got a juicy position in, which also has been doing well. But today, it's time again to compound our bot, as we're up 5.2% or so here on the bot. And I told you before, every 5% we got to compound, which we're doing right here. There we go, we press confirm. We give this a little second to load on in because, again, guys, remember, I told y'all, all we need to do is just keep compounding every single time we are in about 5% worth of profit. And even though I'll never be perfect on the dot with the exact compound levels, if I generally speaking try to go for about 5% or so every single time, over time, it should be able to get to, all right, the $1 million number. All it takes is about 95 times, right? Right now, we're averaging like 1 or 2 a day, but that's because the XRP price has been so volatile and mostly moving up. But fun fact, even if the price moves down, if we just give it enough time, it should be able to work out. But I gotta quickly refresh the page here because it's not loading in properly. Now, before I move on, I'll quickly say, if you're looking for a platform to trade on, all the bots, and I'll be opening a few new ones here today, they are over on Payonics. And just by setting up with the link down below, you can get yourself some nice bonuses. For example, a 15% deposit bonus. You know, you deposit 5K, you get $800, which is pretty nice. Because in my opinion, always this is free money. The second platform we're using in this video is Blowfin, which also has a similar sort of deal, right? Deposit 2K, get $300 for free. It's both pretty easy to just claim. So check out whichever platform you like. One is for bots, one is for my normal trading. I have about $1 million worth of positions open on each. So this one is mostly in normal positions. You can see here, 850K, 80K, 50K, 150K. There we go. And on Payonics, you can see we've got a 250K bot right there. Where? Here, 250K bot right here, and you can just add the numbers up. It's pretty juicy right now. There we go, so should be all good. So we are about at $19.4 thousand or so. So again, if we look at the sheet, we are about at the 15 mark. Just slightly below it, but you get the idea, right? We're basically between 14 and 15 here. We just got to keep this up for a little while longer. Obviously, this could still take, it could be one bull run, it could be a few years. Hard to say. All I know is we just got to keep this up. Every time we get to 5%, we're able to compound it again. And most of the time, this is going to be running at a loss, ladies and gentlemen. But again, look at this bull run Solana bot. The whole idea is that throughout time, but it being able to cash out, it actually makes more in the grids so that your unrealized profit and loss does not matter and it gets to buy that dip. For example, if I was going to say compound, you'll see that this is actually a very favorable ordeal because again, we basically have ourselves profit made even though the Solana price is still down tremendously. So if we put that profit right now back into the bot at, in this case here, like 10% lower or something like that, we're actually helping out our average price. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you right there. It's just a really beautiful thing. The problem is though, my internet for right now in the hotel seems to be a little bit wacky, but things are quite interesting. So when we take a look, for example, at some of the bots I opened last night, like the Hype one, the volatility on Hype has been so high that if you analyze the trading it's been doing on its own, it's actually plus 150% if we were to be able to keep this up. And it's not like the price is up tremendously or anything like that. It's again, annualized what it's been able to cash out in just about a day. Looking at it again, you can see it was able to cash out in 12 hours, $22 on 10K put in, right? That is 0.22%. That is actually insane. Still best profit for everything though, it is the XLM bot, which still is not what I expected at all, right? For it to be this out of all the bots is just madness. But again, give it some time. I just opened a few new bots last night. If you guys have more suggestions, do let me know in the comment section. I mean, one of the most common coins people talked about in the comment section was Hbar, but I already have an Hbar bot open, right? If I'm not mistaken, I did have one. Yeah, it's actually doubled or so over the past 80 days. As you can see, this bot, fun fact again, in my opinion, was always one of the stupid ones as well, but that's what you see when the market just starts popping off. A lot of the coins you didn't expect would make your top list, even though Hbar is one of my bigger holdings, all of a sudden is right back to the top. So if we're looking at the current crypto landscape, Bitcoin was just able to break 119,000. got rejected, but still was able to pick itself back up slightly below it. All the eyes are on tomorrow. Let me rephrase that. Everybody is looking for what Bitcoin is going to do coming out at the weekend, all right? The CME gap is huge, and people are wondering, are the institutions going to come in and scoop up this move that we've made right now to bring the prices back down? But I'll say, as of this point, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, we've got institutions taking profit. We've seen some of the most record buying, ETF buying, throughout the last week here. It makes sense for some of these guys to sell. On the opposite side, as we all know, it's mostly, the market makers, it's mostly some trading firms really that like to take advantage of this. I don't think most of the high frequency trading firms are doing it through the major ETFs. I think many of them are using the old traditional platforms. Again, I could be wrong though, but the volume on the ETFs is not that high. Like, it's good, but it's not that high. And I think, again, the fees are quite high for these type of jokes. But regardless of that, if I'm thinking about it, most of them are buying for a longer term, and if you see record buys, it's because they see record potential at the time. And still, overall, most of those guys are showing faith in it, and it tends to be that whatever BlackRock opens, and especially if they're this successful, I don't think there's a very high likelihood of them being wrong. Especially if those people are opening at these prices, they see some logic in that, right? Because again, these are not your average Joe investors. It's not the retail. I showed you yesterday that retail is not here right now. It's not buying based on crazy amounts of hype. It could be hype that's causing some of these institutions to buy, but that's, again, hype on a very high level. So it's different than you talking to your buddy, talking to your friend, than what's happening right here. But regardless, I was going to say, there's two major things, and this is going to sound stupid, but there's a very high likelihood that Bitcoin tomorrow drops a bit because we are up like $10,000 since we went into the weekend. On the opposite side, there's a very good chance that institutions come in tomorrow and just start scooping it back up because we were able to break through 112,000, because we have reached 120 here. So they see the road from let's just basically say it like this. The road from, let's call it 70,000 to like 100, 110 has been broken. Now is the road from 100,000 to what? 200, 250,000. It's a new road, a new journey, and you can be very early to that journey while kind of fading out of the old one. And I am more on camp number 2, which is that this is the time where things start popping off and go crazy. I don't think many heavy corrections are still yet to be seen here at these very low prices. I don't think Bitcoin is going to go back below $100,000 soon. It could be that somewhere middle in the cycle, we get a good crash going and all of a sudden you see Bitcoin drop below 100K. But I don't really feel like that's what's happening right here. It feels like the market for alts, for example, is way too green. Look at this. Stellar XLM up 17%, HBAR up 26% throughout the day. Just many of my most favorite altcoins going ballistic. Pengu is up 35%. We talked about this yesterday, that everybody was talking about Pengu, and indeed, just everybody talking about it on Twitter is pushing that price up further, because that's sometimes how it goes in these type of markets. Algorand is up 19%, IOTA is up 16%, XDC is up 10%. Just all of our, mostly actually a lot of the utility coins are up tremendously, but still, looking back at the highs of November to January, right, of last year, earlier this year, they're still not doing that good. It's just nice, but I still expect them to see prices way, way, way further, way higher, way crazier. You get it. Actually, one of the ones that could also open up is Algorand. I'm guessing in terms of a bot. And perhaps one for Chainlink. I think maybe people would want to see it though. But when I looked at the comments section, there was really not that many people were rooting for. It was mostly HBAR, which I already have. And you want to know one funny thing about the comment section? I blocked a lot of words, right? I've been trying to get rid of all these bots, but since I blocked like their main word that all these bots are using, it seems they're just using the entire sentence without that one word that I blocked, so it kind of looks kind of goofy right now. But just realize this is not me, and if you're wondering, the amount of times a minute they sometimes post is so great that it's very, very hard for me to stop it, all right? Here you can just see an example of in 1 minute section, they might post 30, sometimes only 5, sometimes only 3 posts. But just keep in mind that is every single minute of every single hour of every single day. So I don't like scrolling through the comment section as much anymore because it's just a lot of freaking work. Regardless, my favorite comment of today was this: XRP is flipping ETH at $5 and you will have to make a stupid face for your thumbnail when it happens. A little fun fact. XRP could flip ETH within just like a day. And people will look at that and say, Dusty, no. Well, really, it could happen in the span of like a freaking clip. 100% gains are a lot, but ETH has not been moving in a while, and if it just stays where it is right now, XRP really only needs 3 good days of continued gains of normal, right? Or 1 day of exorbitant pumps. Because if we look at what the price did back in, let me quickly show you here, if I can go back to it. If we saw what it did back in the November period, you can see this is just a span of 1 week. I should say 1 week earlier. This is 120% gains in 1 week, right? The highest percentage that was up in a day was also something crazy. Let's just quickly go back and look. Here, the price went up what? 50% or so in 1 day. Right, so I'm gonna take my statement back. 100% gains in 1 day is a bit too crazy, maybe for this point. It could happen for sure. I mean, it's bull market territory. But let's just kind of, come it down and say within a week it could overtake it. All of a sudden, become the number 2 in the entire crypto market. It is not as far away as some of you guys might think. All right, it could literally be at number 2 in the snap of a freaking finger. All it's got to do is about double from here, slightly more than that, but about double from here. Right, $5-6 is where it is at. And again, to get back to the story of earlier today, all I think people got to do right now is lock in from the perspective that, again, if you're wrong and the altcoin season doesn't start here, you got to have some money aside to buy the dip. If you're right, though, this is again the moment where just everything works. It's as simple as that. Everything just keeps going time and time and time again. And once more people have made tremendous amounts of wealth, basically going for the idea that this is their mark, then trying to go against it. It's just, again, negative EV. I'll say it one more time though, if you're looking for a platform to trade, check out Payonix for the bots right there. Link is down below. Or check out Blowfin. It's a platform we used to just trade normally on every single day. You can see my, let's quickly see here, my 800,000 XRP trade. How is that one doing? We're still up about 150,000 on it. And I added some more hype, as you can see, about $30,000 or so I added last night. Besides the bot, it's not doing too tremendously well here, actually, fun fact. But that's because the price is not up a tremendous amount. We're just, we entered at 44, right now it's 48. You might say, Dusty, you should have bought lower. Well, nobody really knows about that, right? You just buy whenever you can. You take advantage of the next opportunity. Don't sit too much thinking about how low you coulda, shoulda, woulda bought. It doesn't matter. I still find it crazy, though, that the XLM bot is performing best out of everything. Like, out of all these things, XLM turned out to be the #1 best idea. Not in terms of profit, right? As obviously, at this point, every single thing is starting to look good. Hbar all of a sudden has just absolutely been destroying it. But of course, in terms of profit, this XRP bot, we've doubled our money from 50,000 to, again, 50,000, which is amazing. And that is a fun little experiment here. Why? Well, if you take a look at this has been 70 days and we doubled our investment, right? The fun fact is, if we take a look at my other XRP bot, the $10,000 to $1 million challenge, in slightly less days, we've also doubled our money. Right, slightly less days, basically also doubled our money. And the fun fact is that's because we've been compounding on this one. And you might think, Dusty, but why is it not way higher then? Well, because we didn't compound perfectly, and because the first couple of days were actually quite crucial in this for the gains we are seeing with XRP. Because again, these 5 days can make a very, very big difference in the world of bots, in the world of trading really. 5 days is an eternity. But still, pretty cool that I was able to play catch up just because we've been compounding it. Because right now it's basically exactly the same, right? Both exactly plus 100% in the last 2 months or so. But fun fact, if the market just keeps moving up here just a little teeny tiny bit, we can compound again. And actually, matter of fact, perhaps I even should. Just right now, for example, at like plus 500. So we're exactly at this $19.8 thousand mark. You know what? I'm doing that. I'm compounding here yet again. Why? Just so we're a little bit more beautifully on this here we go, $19.8 thousand mark or so. And if we get above 20.5, I'll try to get myself another compound in again. But now we've officially done ourselves the next compound here. So again, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, right, with a strategy like this, if the market moves against you, the unrealized P&L is going to be very heavily in the minus. But you're calculating for that, you're prepared for that, but making sure you have money on the side to buy either the dip if you wanted to, but I can't because it's a challenge, right? But more importantly, by adding margin. Right now, you can see my liquidation is $1.80, right? Because theoretically speaking, I should not be doing this with leverage. I'm doing it because it makes things way faster. Because the goal was to do it in 3 years, but then I realized, I kind of want to do it in like 1.5 years, maybe less than that. Which is why I'm using 5x leverage instead of 3 or 1, But that also means I will need a lot more money in margin to potentially protect the downside in case the price does move against us. It's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, a lot of people were asking me about compounding. The thing is, I could now, for example, take this $25,000 out of XLM, put it back in, and all of a sudden, we have ourselves a $35,000 XLM bot. It just depends on your preferences. If you want to really stack up for the bull, then that is something quite nice people can do. If you just prefer to take whatever risk you had, 10K in this case, and just let it ride, see how much you can make it in a certain set of time, you don't touch it. It just depends on your preferences. It just depends on your strategy. Everybody's different. All I say is, the longer you keep them running, the more the grids will be, but they can also overtake your unrealized P&L loss in case the price does move against you, and that for the most part is the goal. So you need less in margin, but also you can see if you just open your bots in the right time, you can also just be in profit instantly. I opened this 13 hours ago, it's plus $500. This one is plus $250. This one is plus $112. This one is plus $650. That was luck, all right? Again, I told y'all before, I top blast every single time and it does work. Why? Because I only open it with like half the amount I really want, so I can add half if the price does go against me. Still realize though that following Bitcoin, this is XLM versus Bitcoin, for example. XLM has been going on a monstrous rally, but when you compare it to where the price should be at in terms of Bitcoin, it still is actually quite low. That makes me realize again, these are still, in my opinion, buy opportunities, because if you look back at where the prices were at just a few months ago, back at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, still many coins have to about double. In this case here, do about 60% worth of gains. And sometimes to me, it's also crazy to realize that's like 250 days ago. Like when you think about it, time starts moving so fast nowadays. ETH, by the way, is getting back to 3K. Again, many said in the comments, ETH at 3K is a sell, and I said, no, it's a buy. Often there's just discussions about that. But again, I stick to my strategies of buy the freaking dip. Don't look at anything else. Just get myself a position in so I won't regret it. And it just keeps on working. Because why? It's not because I'm a genius trader. It's because the market is green. It's because everything has been going up. And again, all we're doing is saying, hey, you know what? This most likely will continue on. So we're going to capitalize on that by adding to our positions in hopes that the market moves up more. I'm loving HBAR right now. I'm loving XLM right now. I'm loving IOTA right now. I think I should also get an IOTA bot in. Matter of fact, we should do that right now. We should do that right now, because I don't know why I don't have IOTA in there. Look at hype. Just look at that, right? Yesterday we bought. Oh no, Dusty, why are you buying at the all-time high? Well, because even if the price does move against us, we can still capitalize on that. Regardless, though, let's quickly get ourselves a IOTA bot in. There we go. IOTA clicked. Let's quickly take a little bit of a look. So the recent move has been from about, let's just say 14 cents to 21. So at the bottom, I want to keep in this case here about 14 cents just to make sure we have a little bit of leeway. At the top, let's just use the local high, so about 63 cents, 0.63 for the range. In terms of grids, we're going to use 491. And again, we do not want to auto reserve. We're going to go again, put about, let's just put $5,000 in it at a 5 times leverage. There we go. Let's put $5,000 in. There we go. We press create. It's going to buy about most of the bot right here, but that is completely fine. There we go. We press OK. And now we have yet again added one more bot to the list. In this case here, the IOTA bot, which over the short term, we may get wrecked on this because we're buying it very hard. But again, we keep in mind we can double, triple, quadruple, whatever the bot if the market moves down. If we get to like 15 cents, for example, I'll have to just add more. But that's the beauty of the system, right? We add these because the bull run seems to be nigh. It seems to be near. It seems to be here. And you'll notice that 60 cents for IOTA, for example, it's not, or 65 cents, it's not actually that high of an endpoint. It's a 3x from here, which is cool, juicy, amazing. But it's really not that high because we were able to reach that back in the December period. So, yeah. Anyway, that was it for right now. Our coins are booming, right? You might say it's scary right now to keep it going, and I understand. But from a risk-reward perspective, for me, it still makes sense to keep going up, which is why I keep doing it like this. You might think, Dusty, sell everything, cash out. You could, really. If you're in seeing profits you've never seen before, you are looking at your trades thinking, damn, right? And you're taking screenshots all the time, cash out a good chunk. It's never hurt to take some profit. But if I take profit right now, what am I going to do with that? Just buy more into these positions. That's why, again, a reinvesting strategy sometimes works quite nicely, because ultimately, again, if I, which I am 99% convinced the altcoin season is about to happen in the next few months, all I'm doing here is getting as much money in my bots, my trades as possible for the next few months. Again, the goal is not to keep them open forever. It's to cash out. But I do not believe we are close to the high point of the season yet. If I think it's like a few months away, like we're getting to peak euphoria a little bit, and we can still gain another 100%, but it's kind of getting scary, I would actually hammer way more on the, okay, cash this out and don't put it back in. Right now, in my own opinion, it's more a line of, well, we are not even started with the crazy rally phase. I need to get as much in as possible. Even though it might be slightly wrong with the timing, it is still worth it. But I don't want to talk too much. That's about it for this little crypto update. Make sure you press that like button if you enjoyed it. See you guys again in another one.